We are the exact same. You have skills and I have skills. There is only one small difference. I took my skill, I placed that skill into a better model, and I applied that model to a better market. And that is the reason I'm making $300,000 a month and you are making nothing. To give you a great example, May 2025, I was speaking to one of our potential clients, and she is a musician. She is making around $1,500 a month just playing guitar for groups, making $50 an hour, which is decent as a musician. But she came to me with one problem. She said, Nick, listen, I love what I do. I enjoy playing music. I enjoy playing guitar. I enjoy entertaining people. I just feel like I need to do something on the side for me to sustain my financial situation, to be able to do the things I want in life. And I cannot get that financial stability just from being a musician. So I have to do something else on the side. What should I do? And I told her, you don't have to do anything else on the side to get paid more money, to build a foundation for herself financially, to create the freedom that she wanted. What we did is we sat down for 3 hours. This was a whole Wednesday evening. And the first big problem that we solved within the 3 hours that we had was we need to find a way to sell to people that would pay us more money, because these groups, they pay $50 an hour. So when you do the math, if you want to make $70,000 in a month, how many hours do you have to work in a month if you earn $50 an hour? You need to sleep, you need to eat food, you probably have a family, you have hobbies, you want to do other things, you want to go to the gym, do whatever, right? Now, we realized very quickly that wasn't an option. Increasing the workload wasn't an option. So we went back to the drawing board and we wrote everything out. And we realized two things. We need to tap into a market with people that are capital rich. We need to tap into a market with people that are extremely problem aware. They're aware about their own problems. So we eliminate the friction of educating them about the problem. They're already aware. And we need to make sure that they have an abundance, an insane amount of interest in solving their problem. Because the biggest problem with people is if you have awareness about a problem that you have doesn't instantly mean you can solve it. That's the reason why most people procrastinate, don't take action on solving their actual problems when they know what they should do to solve the problem. So when we can tap into a market like that, which won't be loads of people, it won't be millions and millions and millions of people, but it will be a good amount of people for us to attract, to tap into, to monetize. So what we did is we built her offer and we took her skill, we applied that skill to other women so we could help them become musicians. You're asking yourself, she went away from that role, but now we get other people to do that exact same thing. So the most important thing here is she was already a musician for 2 years and she learned so much doing that for a period of 2 years that there are so many other women out there that are extremely hungry to learn something new, that are extremely creative, right? They have the feeling, they have a strong feeling of willing to create music or do anything with their voice, do anything with, you know, a guitar in the first place. So The fact that she saturated her skill didn't mean that other people couldn't learn or improve or create new experiences doing it, just like she did 2 years ago. So we found that pool of market of a lot of women that are hungry to learn, hungry to grow, hungry to create, and have lots of motivation to pursue their dreams. Now, the second step to that, that was the first step. We figured out our market. We focused on women 35 to 50 years old that want to pursue a new hobby, that are extremely creative and want to do something with their mind, want to do something with their energy, want to do something with kind of creating music. And the moment we figured it out, we needed to figure out the second problem. How can we speak to these women to get them to pay us money for us to help them solve their problem of becoming a musician? Now, we don't know what to solve if we don't know who to attract in the first place. So we were going from the left to the right side of the drawing board, and I wrote down on the top right pain points. And I technically described two hearts specifically. I said this: put yourself into your own situation 2 years ago when you were starting out, when you were super hungry, when you had the dream to become a musician. You weren't that yet. You didn't have any clients yet, you didn't have the experience yet to play proper guitar and get going with the flow. Now, she went into a meditational state, she went into a reflection state, and she instantly had three main points that were extremely important. And these three main things, one of them was peace. And the reason why this is important is something I'm going to tell you right now. She had a man and children, and she was working at home every single day. She was super stressed. The only thing that she desired at that moment was peace. So, what happened is we figured out the first pain point of that market to attract women that have a passion for music, but don't really have that peace in life right now to pursue that dream. Meaning, we figured out the first pain points to attract these women. We said in the content that we started to create, extremely simple content, you have a dream to pursue music, but you just don't have the mental space to start it. That line was something that got us so much awareness from organic content to her profile. And not only that, that got her people that could relate with her, people that loved her for what she said, people that trusted her based on her thoughts and feelings that she shared with them. Because she's been in the exact same situation 2 years ago than most of these women are in right now. So we figured out the second step, which is the actual pain point of what was required to say, to announce, to express within content, to attract these types of people. That was one pain point, and obviously we had a couple more pain points because peace wasn't the only thing they struggled with. It was unawareness, the second one. Most women had the passion to start something new, but they had no idea where to start. They had zero clue. They just didn't know. Meaning, if you don't have a clear vision of the actions required to take, you instantly tend to procrastinate and not take any action in the first place because you don't know what you need to do to start, right? So, what we did is we targeted these pain points, and within our content, we started to solve that problem for them. As an example, you want to become a musician, but you have no idea where to start. You can play guitar, you can play piano, you can play X, Y, Z. You just don't know which direction to go into. Another lost problem that we thought was a problem, which wasn't really a problem: capital. We thought these women would struggle to ultimately pay us money to help them solve their problem. But because the pain was so big and we were so good at targeting, hitting their pain, so they were constantly frustrated and triggered, was capital the next problem. We thought it didn't have capital. But that was a lie. Because most women that we targeted that didn't have that peace had successful men working for them. They had capital. They had an extra $3,000 they could pursue to actually follow their dreams. If people pay $100,000 a year for education, why would people not pay $3,000 for information that could change their fucking life? So happily, we didn't have the problem of people not having the capital to invest to help them solve their problem. And we got so many women on board within the first couple months that paid her thousands of dollars. And that's something that just absolutely shocked her because she has never seen so much money in her life. You have to understand, you go from making $1,500 to making $70,000 in a month. Now, $3,000 came in, another $3,000 came in, another $3,000 came in. It went crazy. The next problem she occurred specifically was not market, was not pain, was not monetization or selling. It was, okay, cool, now we have these women. They like what we do, we need to help them. But the problem was she had kids, she had a family, she was working like every single day, right? But when I talk about working, it was working besides her job. She had all these women on board right now that she coached, that she trained every single day. And she was taking so many calls that she really didn't have any understanding anymore of time because she was working 14 hours a day. And happily, this was only for a week because after a week, we instantly tackled that problem. She was making insane money and all the work, it was all worth it. But we needed to find a structure for her time not to be associated with the product, not to be associated with the delivery, not to be associated with onboarding clients, fulfilling for these clients, making these clients and these women happy. So we figured out a structure of video assets, modules that we could create based on her prior experience of all these 2 years of joy and a crazy experience as a musician, to package that into a step-by-step curriculum for people to follow. The amount of people after the first week that said, this module changed my life, is something I was shocked by based on the amount of volume of all the women. It were around like 50 to 70 women that paid her $3,000 in a time span of like 4 to 6 months. And they were so happy with the information. They were so grateful for what she did for them. And the only reason why, because this had nothing to do with the one-on-one calls. This has nothing to do, this is purely to do with the information she provided. The only reason why they were so happy is because the information was so accurate and so precise into something that solved their problem that it was perfectly aligned. It was something they've been praying for. It was information that they have been begging for. And besides all the money, the impact that she could make and that she's still making till today is crazy. Especially when I knew her for like 2 years, especially now seeing her do this compared to seeing her like a year ago, doing something she did enjoy, but doing something she can do because she has to find a way to create more financial freedom for herself, um, within specific scenarios, because she had a very personal situation. Even though she had a pretty successful man she was married to, she just made it for herself. She just did it, and that is something that I was most proud of. Like, I saw her change, and you just saw her smile again, and I think like that moment is what made me realize everybody has a skill, and everybody can turn that skill into a better market, apply it to a better model to make more money, to do something and make impact that you're truly grateful for, because I think that is something that most people don't do. They love their skill, they love their passion, but they don't understand how to turn it into applicable model that actually creates freedom, whether that's financial freedom, location freedom, or time freedom. That's separate and that's different for everyone. Thank you.